Hi and welcome to this edition of Volusia Magazine. I'm your host Amber Patterson. Today we'll give you tips on how you can stay safe at the beach and what to do if you get caught up in a rip current. And we'll fill you in on the recent Marine Science Center Turtle Day celebration. If you missed this special event, you can still visit this county facility and see nature's wonders. And then we'll tell you how to keep yourself and your family healthy when mosquitoes swarm. These news segments, some stories, and more coming right up on Volusia Magazine. Stay tuned. The weather's getting warmer and nothing is more refreshing than taking a plunge into the ocean. As the busy summer season approaches, the Volusia County Beach Patrol urges beachgoers to be aware of the dangers of rip currents. According to Tammy Maris, Public Information Officer for Volusia County's Beach Patrol, the rip current threat may linger for a few weeks. She urges beachgoers to use extreme caution in the water and to swim in front of a lifeguard.
One of the most dangerous things on the beach actually is rip currents, and people are not aware of that. One of the most basic and important things you can do when you come to the beach is make sure you're always swimming in front of an open lifeguard tower. Rip currents are basically channels of water that pull you into deeper water. They can pull even the most experienced swimmer from shore. So if you ever find yourself caught in a rip current, the most important thing to do is swim parallel to shore to try to get out of the current. If for some reason you can't get out of the current, then you can either float or tread water, but most importantly, do not panic. Just float or yell for help or wave your hand. And never swim alone. And if you do see someone caught in a rip current, don't become a victim also. Make sure that you immediately, if you can find something to throw them that floats, do that. But immediately call for help. Either go get a lifeguard or call 911.
Nationally, more than 100 people die every year from rip currents, more than shark bites, tornadoes, or hurricanes. More than 80% of beach rescues are attributed to rip currents, according to the U.S. Life Saving Association.
We've pulled out probably about 20-25 people over the weekend out of rip currents. And this past year, we've pulled out about 1,800 swimmers out of rip currents over the course of the year.
The Beach Patrol offers many safety tips for beachgoers. When you get to the beach, ask a lifeguard about surf conditions and rip current risks.
And on every beach approach in our parks, we have beach condition signs that tell you what the beach conditions are for the day.
For more beach safety tips, you can visit volusia.org/beach. Mosquito-proof your home. They bite, they itch, and some carry diseases. Mosquitoes are the peskiest part of summer, it's no doubt. But Volusia County's mosquito control officials say you can take some easy steps to keep your home from becoming a mosquito magnet.
As far as around the home, things that people can do to help minimize mosquito populations is make sure you don't have any sources of standing water for more than 3 days. If you have bird baths, for example, a good rule of thumb is to go out and empty them every day or two and refill them. That'll prevent mosquito larvae from developing in the bird baths. The same for anything else that holds water. Make sure you don't have any old tires or anything lying around upside down garbage can lids in the backyard that will collect water. The key is 3 days. If the water stands no more than 3 days, then that will go a long way toward minimizing mosquito populations around the home.
Some mosquitoes like to come indoors. You can keep them outside by having well-fitting screens on your windows and doors. Check your screens for tears and gaps and fix them immediately. Even plants attract mosquitoes, and bromeliads at the top of the list because of their center cups that hold water.
If you have plants that collect water, and some people call those pitcher plants or bromeliads, things like that, those are natural reservoirs for water, and mosquitoes can breed in those. It's not as common, but it can happen. Again, the rule of thumb is if you go out and inspect your plants, and if you've got standing water in those, just simply flush them out with fresh water. and that will keep the mosquito populations down.
Mosquitoes can transmit a number of viruses that can cause serious illnesses in people and in animals. Volusia County's Mosquito Control Division keeps sentinel chickens in coops throughout the county. Employees check their blood routinely to look for signs of mosquito-borne illnesses. If a virus is found, the division works with the Volusia County Health Department to increase efforts to educate residents about ways to protect themselves.
I think most people are pretty much aware of precautions they can take when they do go outside to minimize exposure to mosquitoes. Most notably, don't go out during the early morning or the early evening because that's when mosquitoes are most active. And if you do have to go out at those times of day, then you want to wear long sleeves or put some type of commercially available mosquito repellent on. That'll help keep mosquitoes away from you. Also, keep your pets protected. Make sure they're up to date on their heartworm medications and things like that.
Volusia County's Mosquito Control Division is gearing up for a rainy season when mosquito populations explode. If you live in Deltona, DeBary, Orange City, Lake Helen, DeLand, or Pearson, you can call your city for mosquito service. Other residents can request service by visiting volusia.org/mosquito or by calling 386-424-2920. Blockbuster crowds visited Volusia County's Marine Science Center in Ponce Inlet for the 11th annual Turtle Day, which was Saturday, April 27th. Nearly 3,000 attendees turned out for the celebration. In the dozen years since its opening, the Marine Science Center has cared for thousands of turtles, birds, and more. Annual Turtle Day is a community event to celebrate its animal rehabilitation efforts and raise awareness about marine life and the environment. Marine Science Center manager Michael Brothers was pleased with the event.
Every year, Turtle Day is a wonderful event, but this year we just had an extraordinary turnout. We had about 3,000 people came to the Marine Science Center and enjoyed a wonderful day of exploring the Marine Science Center, of seeing the work that we do with our rehabilitation of sea turtles and rehabilitation of birds, and just had a great time with music and crafts and food, and just a day to have a great family event.
Since opening in 2002, the Marine Science Center has cared for nearly 900 juvenile and adult sea turtles and more than 15,000 hatchlings and washbacks and nearly 1,000 gopher tortoises, freshwater turtles, and snakes. The Mary Keller Seabird Rehabilitation Facility at the Marine Science Center has received more than 9,500 birds since opening in 2004. Friends of the Marine Science Center, a group of citizens who support the Marine Science Center with fundraising and volunteer efforts, co-hosted the April 27th Turtle Day. Visit marinesciencecenter.com to learn more about the Marine Science Center.
I'm Volusia County Chair Jason Davis, asking for you to help us make our roads safer for motorcyclists. You can save a life by looking twice and following these safety tips. Double check traffic at intersections before you pull out. Check your blind spots before changing lanes. Stay focused on your driving. Leave at least a 4-second distance between your vehicle and the motorcycle in front of you. Remember that failing to yield right of way can result in the death of a motorcyclist.
May 1st is the official start of turtle nesting season, and as Here and Now reporter Joanne Magley explains, these endangered creatures rely on you to help keep them out of harm's way.
Turtles are protected internationally because they are listed as endangered and threatened species, which means their populations are in danger of becoming extinct on a worldwide scale. Locally, Volusia County's Environmental Management Department makes sure the turtles are protected as much as possible so they can continue to thrive and be enjoyed by generations to come. Stacy Bell is an environmental specialist for Volusia County.
On Volusia County managed beaches, we have a variety of measures to protect sea turtles in their nesting habitat. A lot of the driving policies that you see on the beach, including not being able to drive at night and not being able to drive in natural areas, are all included in some of the driving policies made to protect nesting sea turtle habitat. Another protective measure for sea turtles on the beach is our beachfront lighting ordinance. This states that you have to make sure that no source of light, reflective surface of a fixture, or beach illumination is created by an upland property during sea turtle nesting season. It is really important for people to make sure to close your blinds at sunset from May 1st to October 31st if you live adjacent to a sea turtle nesting beach in the entire state of Florida.
Part of her job is to make sure people follow the policies put in place to protect sea turtles. Artificial lights can discourage female turtles from nesting and can cause hatchlings to become disoriented. In 2011, there were 34 cases where emerging hatchlings were disoriented. Bell says the lighting ordinance doesn't mean lights need to be completely off, but instead, the lights need to be properly directed, shielded, or so that they aren't visible from the beach. And the environmental management staff works year-round educating beachfront residents and homeowners about the ordinance. Another potential hazard for sea turtles and people as well is unattended furniture.
Unattended furniture on the beach has posed hazards to people and pedestrians trying to run and jog on the beach after dark. In addition, sea turtles statewide will crawl up to nest and hit recreational equipment on the beach and return to the ocean without nesting, which we call a false crawl.
To address this issue, the Volusia County Council passed an ordinance in 2012. Recreational equipment, including chairs, tents, coolers, and clothing, left unattended on the beach between the hours of 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. will be considered abandoned and removed and discarded by county staff. In addition to policies and ordinances to protect sea turtles, volunteers play a crucial role in the turtles' survival. Husband and wife, Bambi and Michael Pro, are both members of the Volusia Turtle Patrol. They look for tracks, identify what kind of turtle made those tracks, where she laid the nest, and then mark and rope off that nest.
45 days after she has laid, we tag it, and then we check it very, very carefully every day until it hatches. And then once the emergence comes, we wait 3 days for the babies to get out on their own, and then we go in there to count how many eggs were laid, how many made it, how many didn't, why, and we document all that. And a lot of times there's a few babies at the bottom that just couldn't get out, and so we get to help those out, and that's what it's worth everything for that.
And while volunteering is very gratifying for most, it's also a tough job. Volunteers have to be on the beach by 6 a.m., and that's after getting all of their supplies. And some days, they could be on the beach for more than 5 hours at a time. Still, the pros say they know they're making a difference.
I think it's been real gratifying that the residents and tourists are very supportive of Turtle Patrol. You know, a lot of them, like I say, don't understand what's going on, but they're eager to learn and they're real supportive of protecting the turtles.
For Volusia Here and Now, I'm Joanne Magley.
To learn more about turtle nesting and about becoming a volunteer, you can visit volusiaseaturtles.org. Now let's join health reporter Stephanie Strong for this message from the Volusia County Health Department.
Good morning. You've reached Florida Breast and Cervical Cancer Program.
Today, the Volusia County Health Department faces the hustle and bustle of another busy day. The phones are ringing as people contact the Florida Breast and Cervical Cancer Early Detection Program, seeking information and help.
The Florida Breast and Cervical Cancer Early Detection Program is a program for women ages 50 to 64 who do not have any kind of health insurance and have low income. This program is very important because for many of these women, they would not be able to get these tests without it.
The term breast cancer refers to a malignant tumor that has developed from cells in the breast. Cervical cancer is a slow-growing cancer that may not have symptoms but can be found with regular Pap tests. Women need to take the initiative to get their Pap smears and mammograms in order to detect early cancers.
Pap smears and mammograms are the screening tools that allow us as providers to diagnose these cancers early. And without these screenings, many women might go years with the cancer being undetected. Early detection is important for successful treatment and extending women's lives.
About 1 in 8 women in the United States can expect to develop breast cancer over the course of an entire lifetime. Each year, about 12,000 women in the United States get cervical cancer. HPV is the main cause of cervical cancer. There are steps every person can take to help the body stay as healthy as possible and lower the risk of breast cancer or a breast cancer recurrence, such as maintaining a healthy weight, not smoking, limiting alcohol, and exercise regularly. For more information about the Florida Breast and Cervical Cancer Early Detection Program, please visit www.volusiahealth.com. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Stephanie Strong, Public Information Officer for the Volusia County Health Department.
As always, if you have any questions about this or any other health-related issues, you can log on to volusiahealth.com. It's time now to turn the cameras to Community Information Director Dave Byron as he sits down for an insightful interview with his guest, Economic Development Manager Rob Ehrhardt.
Thanks, Amber, and hi, everyone. Every month there are a growing number of signs nationally and locally that point to an economic rebound. The county's Economic Development Division keeps very close tabs on several key indicators as part of its monitoring of the local economy. We'll talk about some of the economic signs for the first quarter of 2013 with our studio guest, Rob Ehrhardt. He's the county's Economic Development Director. How you doing, Rob?
I'm doing well, Dave. Thanks for having me.
So we've got the numbers in, the indicators for the first quarter of 2013. Let's look, as like we always do, on the national landscape. What do your glasses tell you as you look across the country?
Nationally, the economy continues to show signs of improvement, Dave. If you look at gross domestic product for the United States in fourth quarter of 2012, it was a tepid 0.4%. Official numbers are not out yet for first quarter of 2013, but the expectation is that they'll come in somewhere around 3%, maybe a little bit higher. And I think that's being driven in large part by consumer spending across the country. As you know, that represents about 70% of our national economy. And I think we're seeing a similar effect locally, some of the numbers that we're looking at.
How about the stock market, man? I mean, the stock market seems to be perking right now.
Stock market is like the tide, in my view. I spent a few years in the Navy. Sometimes it goes up and sometimes it goes down, and we're certainly on a rise now. It's a great indicator of investor confidence in the overall economy. But as you know, that tide can turn pretty quickly. So
yeah, and one of the other indicators that affects most everyone is gas prices, and they continue to go up and down. Right now they're on a downturn, which is good. But you know, the predictions that I've heard about gas prices is that they're going to remain relatively stable for this year. I mean, you hear anything along those lines?
You know, I check on gasbuddy.com from time to time, and the forecasts there, you've heard me say in the past that the only thing you can say for sure about a forecast is it's probably wrong, but the forecasts are that, yes, we can continue to see an increase, you know, the effects of inflation, and as you said, the industry dynamics continue to drive that price higher and higher. So that'll be an interesting element to keep our eye on to see how that impacts people's discretionary spending. Because if you're spending more and more per gallon in gas, then obviously you don't have the same amount of money to go out and spend in restaurants and in malls, etc.
Well, let's look at the local side of things. Rob, again, from a general perspective, as you look at the Volusia County Central Florida economy, what's your take there?
Well, I'll start with unemployment rate. Locally, we continue to enjoy a decline in unemployment rate for the month of March of 2013. It was 6.9%. That's below 7%. You'll recall that just 38 months ago, it was above 13%. So 6.9% to me is a phenomenal number, and I'm as impressed by the fact that the number of unemployed as compared March of 2013 to March of 2012 is down almost 5,500.
Wow.
And if you take the number of employed in the first quarter of 2013, compare that to the first quarter of 2012, that's up almost 5,000. So those are absolutely numbers that show our economy from an employment perspective is improving. We see the most improvement in locally in leisure and hospitality and in retail trade, but we also see notable improvement in manufacturing and in construction and in professional services.
Just awesome. You know, one of the other things that your division keeps very close tabs on is new construction. You compile every quarter, you compile the building permit data from the county and the city building permit offices, and you divide it into residential and construction. The numbers just came out for the first quarter. Hey, I mean, there's some real good news there.
Another good news story in our economy, Dave. So for first quarter of 2013, the number of permits were at 240, and as you pointed out, again, we collect those from our local municipalities and unincorporated Volusia. So those are all locally provided numbers. When you look at those numbers in comparison to prior months and prior quarters, you'll see improvements of 25% as compared to March of 2012, and 50 and 75% when you compare the numbers year over year in the same quarter, as well as the dollars year over year in the same quarter. So it continues to be a great story, and I think it's not just for the housing industry or the building industry, and even for construction employment. But when you buy a new house, you and I both remember there's a commercial on TV. You see you don't have a lawnmower. You know, you need some furniture for the back porch, etc. So again, that drives the secondary market in terms of people being able to go out and improve the economy from those elements, those industries.
And Rob, I think I'm correct in saying that not only are the building permit numbers on the residential side on the upswing, but the average price of a new home, in other words, what people are paying for new homes, is on the increase as well.
It is. If you take the total dollar value of those 240 permits in the first quarter and make that division, you'll get an average dollar value per permit as compared to a year ago that's up 15–16%. So that will start to really create the platform for our property values. We hope over time we'll start to see those values go up, and of course that will make all of us feel more secure in the economy and more secure in our own financial situation.
And again, Rob, I mean, for those of us that are close to government like you and I are, we know that local government, whether it be a city or the county, they rely on the tax base to levy taxes to run government services and so forth, and that tax base has been on the decline for the last several years. I mean, you would have to think that with the kind of activity that you're talking about, that eventually that base is going to have to start to swing back up.
Well, I certainly wouldn't try to predict what Mr. Gilreath is going to show here in a few months in terms of property appraisals and assessments, but I would expect that we would see at least improvement over what he reported last year.
Right.
And we'd all love to see those numbers turn so that we can start to drive the revenue back in the correct direction and create opportunities for government to further stimulate the economy and to serve our local taxpayers.
Yeah, and people probably aren't as aware as we are that the tax roll numbers that come out in July are a snapshot of the roll as of January 1st. So, in some senses, this activity that's occurring right now won't show up in the tax roll until next year.
That's right, that's right. And I would admit to you, Dave, that I was one of those people until 5 years or so ago. I came to work in the county's economic development group. I was a local taxpayer. I'd write my property tax check every year, and I would either leave it somewhere or send it, and really didn't have an appreciation for just everything that went along with how is that money spent and what are the services that are provided, et cetera. So
let's look at the commercial side of the permit activity. What do you see there, Rob?
On the commercial side, we also see a positive picture. The number of commercial permits in the first quarter of 2013 as compared to the prior quarter, fourth quarter of 2012, also compared to the first quarter of 2012, are up in the mid-teens. There was one project in particular in the Port Orange area. There's a BJ's that you may have read about is being constructed. It's a big box store that was almost $10 million. but it wasn't just in the Port Orange area. There was an increase throughout the county, and so again, another encouraging sign. I think it's a little early to stand up and wave the flag just yet. It's one quarter numbers, but it's certainly a turn in the right direction. And against the landscape that we've been talking about, I think we should all be encouraged.
You know, in these conversations that we have every quarter, it wasn't all that long ago, Rob, that we were talking about the fact that there was a glut of existing homes for sale on the market, and experts like yourself predicted that it was going to take a while for those homes on the market to get sold, which was having an impact on new construction. So now when you start to look at the sale of existing homes, it seems like that too is very much on the positive side of things right now.
It's yet another positive story, the sale of existing homes, whether they be foreclosures or not, and the number of new foreclosures has unfortunately increased just a little bit. So I think it reminds us that this is a problem that's pretty deep, and it's not going to go away overnight. In fact, the state of Florida still leads the country in the month of March in terms of foreclosures. But the good news is, as you just pointed out, that the sale of foreclosures continues to be on the rise. And the average price of existing homes is also increasing. So once again, we're seeing that tide begin to rise kind of across the board.
I know you keep a lot of information in your division. You have a very comprehensive website for folks that maybe would like to talk to you, maybe get some business research done or talk about an expansion or whatever. What should they do? How can they get more information?
Well, Dave, we have a website. It's www.floridabusiness.org. That's floridabusiness.org. It's also accessible through the county's website at volusia.org. And you can click on business and find economic development. Or you could call our office. That's area code 386, and the number is 248-8048. Our office is located inside the Daytona Beach International Airport on the second level.
Well, Rob, I want to thank you for sharing the information. I enjoy our conversations every quarter. It's nice to be talking about positive things for a change, huh?
Again, thanks for having me, Dave, and it is always nice to, well-timed to be having this conversation.
Our guest today, Rob Ehrhardt. He's the director of the county's Economic Development Division. And with that, we'll go back to you, Amber.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you for watching Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about our program, just give us a call at any of the numbers you see listed here, or you can log on to volusia.org. You can also watch the show online. Just go to volusia.org and click on the News tab to find us. And did you know you can view the County Council meeting calendar there too? You'll find out about meeting dates, activities, special events, topics of interest, and how you can participate. In fact, here's one. Volusia County's Community Assistance Division will provide information about 3 grant programs during a public workshop at 2 p.m. Wednesday, May 15th at the Volusia County Health Department. That's at 1825 Holson Back Drive in Daytona Beach. And if you would like more information, you can contact the Grants Coordinator, Donna King, at 386-736-5955, extension 12970. And last but not least, we hope you won't forget to listen to Volusia Today, Volusia County Government's public information radio broadcast. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday and Sunday mornings on the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Amber Patterson, and I hope I'll see you next week.